Hi! In this video, we're going to talk about self-referencing queries and how can we use them to create incremental refresh with the help of a Dataflow. So, you must wonder why do we need this kind of incremental refresh when we already have Power BI Pro Datasets incremental refresh? Well, there are two reasons why. First reason is because this technique works with Dataflows, something that is still not incorporated with Power BI Pro datasets. And the second reason is because with this technique you can achieve more flexible ways of handling new data, not only time-relevant data but also ID-relevant data, like data from Facebook APIs or data from weather APIs, etc. So now, without further ado, let's see how can we create such an incremental refresh with our example. Before we get into a technical part, let's just rehearse what does it mean to have a self-referencing table. So we can see that we have a new data that is entering inside of our main query. And you can see that in second step, the new data gets appended to the history table. And we see that after the data is appended, that same table becomes the history table. What does it mean? It means that we have a recursion, and with each refresh, the history table grows to accumulate both new data and the history data that was present in the moment of refresh. So now that after we've seen what does it mean in theory, let's see how can we get this with the use of a Dataflow. For the purpose of demonstration, we will use an Excel table that is situated on our local drive. That means that we will need to use Enterprise Gateway. If you don't know what Gateway is, you can search it online and see how to use it, how to set up it, and what are its benefits. So now we have this simple table. It has only 3 columns, date, segment, and value. And the first step is to get this table inside of our Dataflow. So we go to Power BI, we go to workspaces, and let's create a new workspace, and we will call it Dataflow Incremental Refresh. Save it, and we will go to add Dataflows, add new entity. We will click on Excel file, and now we need our path. We will use the path of the Excel file. We go to Info, copy path, and paste it here. What we can see is that its URL is locally based, which means that we will need to use a gateway in order to operate with this file. It already acknowledges that I have a gateway installed, and also credentials. If you will be using this for the first time, you will need to set up credentials and the path correctly before you can go forward with the file. Okay, let's click on the next. We'll wait a bit. Now we can see our Excel and the objects inside of it. We will use new data table, and we'll go to transform data. Be sure to always define the column types. So this is date, this is text, and this is whole number, and click on Save and Close. We need to name a data flow. Let's call it Incremental Refresh, and let's refresh it. It will take a half a minute, so in the meantime, it's still in progress. So in the meantime, let's go to our Power BI desktop file, and we'll go to Get Data and get data from Power BI Dataflows. We will select our newly created workspace and we will choose our, hopefully it's loaded, yes it's loaded, we will choose our data flow. At the moment we only need this step to get this code, this source code. You could acquire it also in the online version, into Dataflows, but it tends to be slow. So at the moment, I think this is a faster solution. So just copy the code and we go back to the Dataflows. We go to Edit Entities. And we add a new blank query. And we paste the code in here. Really important, at this step, do not select to use a gateway. This is a data flow. It's already online and it does not need a gateway to operate. If you select gateway here, you will have an issue later on down the road with the configuration. So just leave it on none. And click on Next. It will state that this is a linked entity, but we can disable load and it's allowed to have disabled linked entities inside of Pro license. And let's call it a history table. We need to configure connection. The connection will actually be our account, our Power BI account, so we just need to connect with our credentials. And we will see our history inside of our table. Now the next step is crucial. We need to get inside of new data and we need to somehow append the history data with each refresh to the newly added one. How to achieve this? Let's go to Advanced Editor. I'll put this new data, the whole new data, into a table variable called new. Say that it's this step. Next, we need to check which is the first date available in the new data. Why? Because we want to filter our history table so that it does not include, so that it does not multiply new data and history data if the new data already has some other values. This way we can be sure that there will be no duplications of sales, for example. So let's add a min date variable and we will just write okay. Next, we need to add a table variable which will hold the filtered history data. We'll call it filtered history, and now we'll go with history is the name of the query. It's the name of this query. Date is the name of the date column in the history table. And the last step is to combine these two queries. Okay. Exit step is the last step of the query. If we've written everything correctly, OK should be fine. Let's configure connection. Now we see that we cannot add an enterprise gateway. We need it for this source, but we cannot add it from here. But what we can do, we can add it from the options and project options. And here we can select to use the gateway that we have installed. After we confirm, now we can see that it acknowledges our data source, data gateway, and it also recognizes that we already included our file as with credentials and encryption. So we click on connect. Okay, privacy. Continue. If everything works well, we will see our table and we can click on close and save. So basically this is it. With these 3 steps, we've created an incremental table that gets refreshed, that gets appended with new data on each refresh. We need to refresh it. Now we'll wait again for a minute. In the meantime, let us go back to the Power BI and let us load this data into a Power BI desktop. Okay, so now we will see that when the data is loaded, hopefully, yeah, okay, it's loaded. It contains 20 rows. We will add these rows to the table. Let's go into date. So we can see that we have 2 dates and its appropriate values. Now let's go to our Excel file. Let's remove these 2 dates and let's add 26th and 27th. Okay, let's save this Excel file, exit, and now let's refresh again. So with this refresh, the data flow should hold the old data, the old 2 dates, and append the new 2 dates in the whole new data table. We will wait for half a minute. You can see that it's still in progress. We have completed the first 2 refreshes, and now I think it should be already refreshed. Let's refresh again. Okay, and now we can see that both the old 2 dates are inside and we have new dates appended. That was all for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please post it down below. And if you like this video, hit like and subscribe button to stay tuned for more. See you in the next video. Bye!